Urbanization During the Gilded Age by Ashley Johnson, Mia Johnson, and Taylor Kelly. Urbanization. The definition of urbanization is anything relating or pertaining to a town or a city. The Industrial Revolution created a lot of factory jobs that led to urbanization. These jobs, including factory jobs, would be blacksmith, dentist, pharmacist, doctor, or even a barber. With the new amounts of jobs, more immigrants came to the country, leading to bigger cities being established. As you can see in the charts, urban population, as the years go, start to catch up with rural population, even exceeding it in 1920. And over here you can see major cities population getting bigger and bigger as time went on. So these are the major cities, and you can just see over time they get bigger and bigger. Problems in cities. Places of residence were appalling due to the rapid population growth. Typhoid and cholera were the most common diseases. People worked in dirty factories doing repetitive jobs for a low wage. They often used dangerous or faulty equipment. There was a ridiculous amount of child labor. Neighborhoods were segregated by race, ethnicity, and class. In 1882, an average of 675 laborers were killed in work-related incidents each week. Typhoid and cholera were slow, painful, and very contagious diseases. The child labor consisted of coal mining, selling newspaper, and even working in the factories with the dangerous faulty equipment. Positive effects of urbanization. Compulsory attendance was up. Compulsory attendance was the required amount of attendance by the state. So compulsory attendance was up. Tax-supported schools were more accessible. The literacy rates were dropping. To help immigrants adapt to a new society, things like language and childhood education classes were available in the community. The progressive movement in the 1890s spiked a peak in education. The progressive movement was a social activism, political reform. It addressed problems caused by industrialization, urbanization, immigration, and political corruption. Okay, as you can see, the pink is the illiterate world population, and the blue is the literate world population. We'll just be focusing on the illiterate population. As you can see, as time went on, the amount declined. It even dropped in like the early 1900s. It dropped dramatically compared to previously then. New inventions. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb in 1879. This development quickly became common in homes as well as factories, transforming how lower and middle class Americans live. When cities could no longer expand outward, they instead developed upward by building skyscrapers. The first was built in 1885 to act as a 10-story home insurance building. This was in Chicago, by the way. As cities grew and sprawled outward, major challenge was efficient travel within the city. In 1887, Frank Sprague invented the electric trolley, which ran on electricity instead of horses. They were able to run all night, which was convenient for factory workers. As you can see, as time goes on, new inventions are created. In 1876, professional baseball was founded. The 10-story skyscraper we were just talking about previously was built in 1885. The electric trolley was invented. We'll go into the Whole House in Chicago, but that was invented. New movements were being made and amusement parks. So just over time, a whole bunch of new inventions were developed. Political bosses. Political bosses or political machines control politics in major cities. They did this by rewarding their supporters with jobs and basic welfare. An example of this would be William Boss Tweed of Tammany Hall with the New York Politics and Immigrants. Thomas Nast was the illustrator of this cartoon, exposing all the greed in regards to Tammany Hall. So you can see Tammany actually worded a couple of times in here, and basically this cartoon just exposed all the corruption behind it. Immigration. Immigrants at this time came from Southern and Eastern Europe, Italy, Russia, Poland, and Greece. These people were illiterate and unskilled. Push and pull factors were something that either pushed them to exit wherever they were coming from or pulled them to come to wherever they were going to. Push factors. Farm jobs lost due to mechanization, lack of land, and more poverty. political instability, lack of political freedom, religious persecution, pogroms, which was violence against Jews in Russia, pull factors, American ideals, political and religious freedom, stories from previous generations, factory jobs from industrial revolution, economic opportunity. Here are immigration statistics from 1861 to 1890. We'll just be focusing on Italy and Russia. So you can see Italy, the Italians were immigrating to the United States over time, and the population was just getting bigger and bigger. And then Russia, USSR, also you can see over time the population from Russia to the United States is getting bigger. Immigration and urbanization. Literacy tests were given in 1917 to keep out the uneducated immigrants. Many immigrants were processed through Ellis Island in 1892. As a result of the immigrants, there was a rise in nativism. Nativism is the policy of protecting the values of born nativists. This didn't support Irish or Roman Catholic immigrants because of their loyalty to the Pope. Social gospel movement. Christians had a responsibility to deal with urban poverty. The Salvation Army came over from England in 1879 and provided poverty relief while spreading Christian values. YMCA/YWCA was another way to promote Christian values. Reactions to immigration and urbanization continued. The goal was to improve the moral beliefs of the poor/immigrants. Settlement House movement. Jane Addams established the Hull House in 1889. The Hull House is a settlement house in the U.S. that was co-founded in 1889. They were open to newly arrived European immigrants. This provided many social services in the community. Philosophy development. The Puritan work ethic concentrated on the idea that Christians must work hard. Puritan work ethic concepts include theology, sociology, and economics. Their history reflects that hard work and discipline are the result of the Protestant faith. Horatio Alger, story of rags to riches. This reflected that honesty and hard work lead to success. Social Darwinism, survival of the fittest. The idea that certain people become powerful in society because they are innately better. This is our works cited MLA formatted page.